Hi everyone and welcome to Germany for Student channel. Today is the 26th lesson of A1 level of German language course, and today we are going to talk about the second part of the perfect tense in German language. In the first part we discussed when we have to use the perfect tense and how we can build the perfect tense in German language. But today we will go through some of the examples. And before we start with the examples, I will quickly go through the sentence structure, and then we will discuss how and when we have to select sein and when we have to select haben verb. So this is the formula that we have to follow in order to make a perfect sentence in German language. At the first place there will be subject, then we have to select haben or sein. At the second position we have to select one of these verbs, and on what criteria we have to select, this will come next. The third position of sentence I have reserved it for object. There can be adjective, there can be preposition, etc. This is just a placeholder, and the last part of the sentence will always be the perfect form of the verb, which is also called participle zwei in German language. So participle zwei will always come at the end of the sentence in perfect tense. Now first we see when we have to select haben and when we have to select sein. There are reflexive verbs in German language that will always use haben verb at the second position. Then there are certain verbs which always require an object. Whenever we have to use these direct objects in German language in perfect tense, we will always use haben verb at the second position in the perfect tense. Next is perfect with sein, when we need to use sein verb at the second position. There are verbs of movement like gehen, kommen. Whenever one of these verbs is used in German language in a perfect tense, we will always use sein at the second position. There are certain verbs in German language which show the change of state, and all these verbs like aufwachen, einschlafen, wachsen, sterben, etc. Whenever one of these verbs come in the sentence in the perfect tense, we will always use sein at the second position. Then we have specific verbs. Whenever one of these verbs come in the sentence in perfect tense, we will always use sein verb, and we will conjugate the sein verb with respect to the subject of the sentence. Now let's go through the examples. The first example is ich lese die Zeitung. I read the newspaper. Now lesen is one verb which is, when conjugated with respect to ich, becomes lese, and Zeitung means newspaper. I read the newspaper. Now this verb lesen require a direct object so that the sentence gets completed. If I simply say ich lese, I read, the sentence is not so clear. So I can read a book, I can read a newspaper, I can read a novel, etc. So now we have to identify to which category this lesen verb comes, and we see that this is the verb that comes under this category because it requires a direct object. Whenever we use a verb that requires a direct object, we will have to use the haben verb in the perfect tense. So the present tense is ich lese die Zeitung, I read the newspaper. But when I want to make a perfect tense out of this present tense, ich habe die Zeitung gelesen, I have read the newspaper, or I read the newspaper. Now you see that we have followed this formula. Subject comes at the first place, then we have used haben verb and we have conjugated it with respect to the subject, so it becomes habe. Then comes the object, which is die Zeitung, and participle zwei is gelesen. Gelesen is the participle zwei or perfect form of verb lesen in German language. Next is the second example. Lisa studiert Informatik. Lisa studies computer science. Now here again this will come under this category, so we will use haben verb and we will conjugate it with respect to the subject, which is Lisa. Lisa hat Informatik studiert. Studiert is the participle zwei of studieren. Studieren means to study. Versteht den Mietvertrag. He understands the rental contract. So verstehen is a German verb which means to understand, and when we conjugate verstehen with respect to subject it becomes versteht, and Mietvertrag is a masculine noun, and here it is used as an accusative object or the direct object, and we know that in direct object the masculine noun has definite article den. So versteht den Mietvertrag. Now if I want to say he has understood the rental contract, then I will say hat den Mietvertrag verstanden. Now you again see first position is for subject, which is then we have to select between haben and sein, and we will select haben because we are using this category of verb which requires a direct object, and we have conjugated haben with respect to the subject, which is then Mietvertrag will come as it is, and it is the object of the sentence, and verstanden is the participle zwei or the perfect form of verb verstehen. So that verstanden will come at the last position of the sentence. Next is Paul kommt 8 Uhr. Paul comes at 8 o'clock. Now this category of verb is the verb of movement, because here Paul is coming from one place to another. Therefore, when we want to make the perfect tense out of this, that Paul has come at 8 o'clock or Paul came at 8 o'clock, then we will say Paul ist 8 Uhr gekommen. Now, ist is the conjugation of verb sein with respect to Paul, and gekommen is the participle zwei of kommen, which comes at the last position of the sentence in the perfect tense. Next is wir fahren nach Berlin. We travel to Berlin. Now in this sentence we are again using one verb called fahren, which comes under this category, that there is a movement. We are traveling from somewhere to Berlin, so there is a change of location or there is a movement, and for these movement verbs we always use sein at the second position, and we conjugate the sein verb according to the subject, which is wir, so it will become wir sind nach Berlin gefahren. Gefahren is the participle zwei of fahren verb, and it will come at the last position. Now the last example is im Winter passieren viele Unfälle. It means many accidents occur in winter. Passieren is a verb which means to occur or to happen. Unfall means accident. Unfälle is the plural, which means accidents. In winter, lot of accidents occur. So this passieren verb belongs to this categories, specific verb. So whenever any verb from this category will be used in the perfect tense, we will have to use sein verb as at the second position of the sentence. So it will become im Winter sind viele Unfälle passiert. So we have conjugated sind with respect to viele Unfälle because it is plural, and we have used the participle zwei of the passieren verb. So I hope that this is clear to you now. We have gone through a lot of examples and almost all categories. I haven't used the reflexive verbs because we haven't covered it yet. We will cover it afterwards, and then it will become clear to you how you can use the reflexive verb in perfect tense. So if you have still any questions, queries, you can put them in the comment, and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you.